I've curated a list of 6 nonfiction books to help me understand my brain, my hormones, and my habits better. Welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Melissa. I am the dyer behind Rising Tide Fiber Company. I'm also a very avid reader. For 2026, I want part of my reading theme this year to be on brain health. I feel like between working a full-time job as a teacher, running a small business as a yarn company, and just the consumption of media in general, particularly social media, I noticed towards the end of last year, my attention span was shifting, and not for the better. The first section of book, I'll preface this by saying not all of the books have been released yet. I think there's 2 that are due to be released later in the year, so I can't read those right away. I've chosen 6 in the idea that since I am an avid reader, I spend so much time reading fiction that maybe 1 every couple of months would be perfect. Now I could see myself really diving in hard, but we'll see. The first set of books, I already own 2 of the 3, and they relate to how we pay attention and connect. This is the area of focus that I noticed was diminishing in my own life. So the first book on my list is Dopamine Nation by Anne Lemke. She is a psychiatrist, and I want to read this because I'm looking for a reset. I had already started trying to reset my brain at the end of 2025. I noticed that constant scrolling was causing me to not have the attention span to watch television. And I just found myself wasting what felt like wasting time. And so as a creative, I didn't want my brain hooked on that cheap dopamine hit of scrolling. And so this book is supposed to help you find the balance in this age of what people are calling overindulging. And it's even mentioned that because we're living in a world of constant high reward, high dopamine stimuli through technology, that our smartphones are turning into the new hypodermic needle. And that sounds harsh, and I didn't like where my brain was going. So I'm hoping this book is going to give me some insights into how do I break the loop? Like, how do we find that balance? I hear and have read that Generation Z is looking to move into a more analog lifestyle because they never had that growing up. Whereas my generation, I'm in Generation X, we remember physical books. We remember records and CDs and tapes and 8-tracks, and we remember Saturday morning cartoons. Like, we didn't have instant access to everything. And so we know what that analog lifestyle is like, and I can see the advantages of it. Do I want to go completely tech-free? Absolutely not. But I would like some information on how do I manage it better. The next book I want to read is The Digital Delusion by Jared Cooney Horvath. This was published at the beginning of December of 2025. And this one talks about classroom technology. Now, while I realize that this probably isn't the book for everyone because not everyone is a teacher like myself, but I do recognize if you are a parent of a school-age child, how it may be helpful. It apparently talks about how just like we as adults are addicted to the dopamine stimuli that we're constantly being bombarded by particularly with our smartphones and technology, we are doing the same thing to our children. The fact that we are putting them in a classroom and we are kind of taking away their phones, like we're asking them not to use their phone. Well, now they're not getting that dopamine stimuli that they are accustomed to constantly being given since they were old enough to hold an electronic device. I suspect this is why studies have said don't give toddlers electronic devices, because you set them up for that dopamine stimulus. But this book, I believe, also talks about, so we take away the dopamine stimuli, but then we slap, essentially Chromebooks in front of them, that they are literally on devices almost 100% of the time. And even when we don't, they're glazed over because they're suffering from withdrawal symptoms. And so how do we get that? How do we help kids thrive again? And so I'm really curious to read this, not just because I'm a teacher. Yes, it will be insightful if it's got helpful ideas on how I can help my students, particularly because I'm an online teacher. I think my county is recognizing this. We have I know in math curriculum, a lot of math areas, we've moved back to textbooks. There's less and less electronic resources. So I do think, at least my school system is moving back in that direction to kind of remove that constant screen time from them. And the third book in this section is Why Brains Need Friends by Ben Reed. And so I'm a solitary knitter most of the time. Sure, I like to sit on in a Zoom meeting and knit with friends, but I don't really go a lot of places. I work from home, I teach online. So outside of going to fiber festivals or going to my guild meetings and running basic errands, I don't do a whole lot out of my house. And I'm recognizing that might be working against me as much as I am an introverted person. And now that I don't work in a yarn shop part-time, I'm not getting as much social interaction as I used to. And now I'm noticing it. And not that it's a bad thing. I love me some homebody time. I am very much a homebody, but I am beginning to recognize that when I go to guild meetings or go to fiber festivals, that's lighting up a different area in my brain. And I'd really like to understand that connection better. So those books are meant to help me figure out how I can pay attention and connect. The next couple of books are really about not just my brain health, but also my body and myself. How can I connect my physical health to my ability to be able to keep making? And the first book is The New Perimenopause by Mary Claire Haber. Now, this doesn't come out until April 7th. I have it on pre-order, but anyone who has either gone through this stage of life or is currently in it understands that this is a zone of chaos in life. This season feels never ending to me and was pretty scary for a while personally. So I want to be able to keep knitting well into my old age and running my business for as long as I want to, not just be able to. So I kind of need to know what's happening with my body. Particularly for me, it was brain fog. Now, I've had a great nurse practitioner as my gynecologist to kind of help me make decisions from a medication standpoint, and that has helped improve my sleep. I suspect it has helped with some of the inflammation in my body, but I've also heard conflicting information from another physician. So I'm really looking forward to this almost being like a manual to what, again, feels like a chaotic season of life that right now sometimes feels never ending. The next book is back to brain health a little bit, and it's called How to Make Your Brain Your Best Friend by Rachel Barr. She's a neuroscientist, and this one is still about brain health, but how to approach it so that you have not just a healthier, but a happier life. And so what I understand from the premise of this book is that it's never too late to carve out new neuroplastic changes in your brain, like neural pathways. If there is a way to take better care of my brain, I'm here for it. The last book on my list is a little bit of a wild card, I think, for most people. If you've been around around here for very long, this will not surprise you whatsoever. This book comes out on January 27th. It is called Swiftynomics: How Women Mastermind and Redefine Our Economy. It's by Misty L. Hagenes. This author is actually an associate professor of public affairs and economics. She's also the founder and co-director of the Kansas Population Center at the University of Kansas. So this isn't just some random book that a random person decided to research and write. And she's using Taylor Swift as sort of the muse for the theme of the book. We all know that Taylor Swift isn't just this mega pop star. She has accomplishments that far exceed the norms of our patriarchal society. And so while not everybody can be Taylor Swift or Beyonce or Dolly Parton, like, we don't live those lives. But understanding how these megastars have been so successful really kind of trailblazes how we as everyday women can kind of navigate our central role in the way our economy works. This economist is going to dig into the data and kind of reveal probably some things we already know about women and our economy. We know that women are the big decision makers in most households, but I'm really hoping that this book will kind of give us a little bit of advice on how do we as everyday women kind of thrive in an economy that really wasn't built for us. So this is my syllabus for 2026. I'm hoping these are going to be the books that help me knit more focus and less distraction into my year. I'd love to do sort of a book club chat down in the comments. If you could recommend one book that has changed how you think, what would that book be and why? I'll be back here again next week, hopefully a little smarter, maybe with a lot more knitting done. So until next week, friends, happy making, happy reading.